Hi everybody. I'm here on the official STA Computer Science Club website, and if you have followed my instructions after having listened to the first lecture of the first meeting, then you should have arrived here, and then you would have clicked on this link here, which would have brought you to the video you're seeing now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain, how to go through these resources in like an effective way. So step one would be to watch this video, and this just brings you to a video where
don't worry.
This guy he sort of goes over exactly what we did in the actual introduction to programming lecture, and then you'll note there are sample problems here. So really, what you're going to want to do is, it's the first week, go through these elementary programs. They're like, there's no way you're going to do these unless you've actually done programming previously. So we can just start with the first one, and we want to write a program that prints hello world to the screen. Well, how do we do that? Where do we start with doing that? Well, first step would be to choose which language you want to learn. Now, as a beginner, I would highly recommend that you do Python, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm gonna go ahead and say that you want to learn C++ because you're crazy. So the first step would be, we can open up Notepad here. And this is where you're gonna type your program. Save your program anywhere. I'm just gonna do it on the desktop. And note, you don't want to save it as a TXT. You want to do all files. We'll call this demo.cpp. CPP stands for a C++ file. That's just the file type ending. And so now you want to complete the problem. But you're like, how do I do that? I don't know how to do any programming. That's where these resources come in. So if you want to do C++, you go under the C++ header. And this one is to do C, and this would be the C++ tutorial series. So you can click onto this link here, which will bring you
Hey, what's
to
up, guys?
the tutorial series. Now, you can go through these, and you will eventually get to a point where you can probably actually do some of these questions if you just go through these tutorials. So I'm gonna find the right tutorial that'll tell me what to do. Probably this one. I would say you want to start with this. This is just a welcome video. So what he's doing here actually is he is installing something called Visual Studio, which you actually should want to do instead of, programming in Notepad. Because Visual Studio is an IDE, so what it does is, and this only really applies if you're actually wanting to do C++, you're going to want to get Visual Studio, because C++ is, as we talked about, it's a compiled language, which means that you're going to need some sort of compiler, and Visual Studio, as an IDE, is a text editor that includes the compiler also. So he'll go through installing Visual Studio. Typically, people, their first program they make is Hello World. So I figured just by this video that he was probably going to do Hello World, and he did. I mean, I haven't even watched this video, but he went ahead and did Hello World, so you can go ahead and, type exactly what he did. Alright, so I've gone ahead and written the program. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to compile this myself without the use of Visual Studio and just show you that it's working, to just give a nice example of how you would go about looking at the sample problems and going through the tutorials to then actually complete the sample problems. So to compile this, I'll just do something like this. By all means, you don't need to understand anything about what I'm doing. Alright, so I've got the program compiled here, and to run it, I'm just going to go demo.exe, and it should say hello world. I'm going to cross my fingers. Yep. And I believe it's waiting for me to give an input. Yeah. So, there you go. And that's the end of the tutorial. Well, actually, not quite. I think it would be fair enough to tell you how it would work if you wanted to start with Python, which is exactly what you're probably going to do. So the first step would be to watch this video I've already prepared here, where I go over how to install Python 3 and use the tool that the tutorial series I've linked you to uses, because he doesn't really do a good job of explaining how to install it and use the tool. But the tutorials are fine themselves. And so, you can just do the same one. You can do a hello world to the screen. So you would go again over to the tutorial series, and the first video here is great.
Hello everybody.
It tells you about the print function. I'll just scrub through to find the part in the video where he actually gets to the juice of it. Okay. So, he's now on the point in the video where he shows how to, print stuff. And in Python you can already see, it's a lot easier than C++. You also don't have to care about this thing called the compiler at all, because Python is an interpreted language, which we also went over. So I'm just going to go ahead in here and write this program out. There you go. Got that done. So I will have to save that file, do that on the desktop as well. Give it a run. And I got a hello world. That's great. And you would do the same sort of, series of steps to complete all of the problems, and hopefully, by the end of completing all the problems, you can tell yourself that you're a great programmer, and maybe you actually are a great programmer. Thank you for watching.